Hello to everyone. This is probably our third to last aperitif concert of the season. My name is Stacy Dyson. I am the founder and lead poet for Tesoro, International Women's Arts Consortium. I say this about every single one of our guests. I'm not going to break my stride now. We are beyond blessed to have on the mic tonight Sam Harty. She is our newest fire singer. I'm not going to give you her bio. That's for her to do. So, Sam, first of all, how you doing? And secondly, tell us who you are.
I'm doing good. I've been writing poetry since I was 7 years old. I am, I think, a very kind person. I try to be. Um, when I'm not writing poetry, and I write a lot of poetry, I'm in the Stafford Challenge. So in the Stafford Challenge, you write one poem every day for a year. So I have to write a poem every day, and I'm enjoying it. I mean, I really am enjoying it. There's some days that you're only going to get a haiku out of me. There's those are the haiku days, but otherwise, I'm really enjoying it. And so it keeps me writing constantly all the time. But when I'm not writing, then I volunteer for a place called Sexual Trauma Awareness and Response. And that is for survivors of sexual assault, be it, you know, uh, intimate partner violence or rape or, you know, it, that type of thing. So I answer the hotline. I used to go to the hospital and meet with the survivors, but I don't do that anymore. So they paused that for a while, because funds go up and down and up and down, and grants go away and all that. So, but I do that when I'm not writing. Um, I have five roommates, and we don't really talk. So basically, I live alone in my room. I have two cats, Dina and Charlie, and I'm hopelessly in love with a woman from Istanbul, and I have been for a very long time
Romance.
now.
I love it.
I've been to Istanbul twice. A lot of my poetry centers around Istanbul, enough to where I'm close to being able to write a book about Istanbul. But my next two books are coming out. Should I talk about my books now or not? You have more questions, probably.
Darling, this first
Okay.
15 minutes is yours. Whatever it is you want to tell
Okay.
us.
I have the next two books I have coming out. One is called The Sound of Leaving, and it's about heartbreak. I've already written two poetry books that are pretty much exclusively about heartbreak. They're called Lost Love Volume 1 and Lost Love Volume 2. So they're already out. They've been out for a year now or so. But I'm writing The Sound of Leaving. That's coming out next. And then after that, I'm writing one it's a whole new concept for me. It's called The Thing About Mud. And it's where it's read this poem. It's about nature, but it's not about nature. You're going to learn something. That's basically what's about. So I have those two books coming out, and I just do a lot of writing. I mean, uh, when we do the poetry part, I'll share my very first poem I ever wrote, and that's it's. Let's just say
Yeah.
after my mom read it, she said, "Yeah, therapy, definitely." Uh-huh.
You
Yeah.
would not be the first poet in the world to hear that.
Oh heck, I'll
Um,
do it here. I'll do it here.
okay.
It's
Okay.
Clyde, oh poor Clyde died. He took a bath in comet and tide, shriveled and dried. Poor Clyde died. That was my first ever poem.
I'm not sure whether to snap fingers for you or pray. So move let's
Yeah.
move on to the interview portion of this. And this is the question or question that I ask everybody who's ever done this
Mhm.
show, and you can interpret it any way you need to. Why poetry and why now?
Well, I love words. I love words. Words are amazing. Recently, I learned a word in Turkish that Sen Seslik, and it means living without you. It's just beautiful. And I learned another one called Huzon, and basically it means sadness, but a specific kind of sadness, like melancholy. And I love words. I've always loved words. And I stopped writing for a long time. I wrote in my early years. I wrote a little bit in my 20s and a little bit in my 30s. But then when I hit 50, I started writing again. So I've been writing about 14 years, you know, now again. I love writing and I love words. That's it, basically.
Do you think that poetry is something that's needed and or necessary in today's world?
Absolutely. I mean, poetry is cathartic. I think that's the word I'm looking for. And I mean, it's healing. And God knows this world needs a lot of healing, you know? And I think if more people stopped and thought about words, especially thought about what they're going to say before they say it, the world would be so much better place. I mean, words, words can start wars or they can end wars. It's up to the person. Words are
That's
extremely
true.
important.
Okay. Um, is this where you had meant to be as far as writing? I always tell people, I started writing when I was 5. Okay. And never stopped. Is that what you had in mind?
Well, when I was little, my mom wanted me to be a lawyer, and
Okay.
I
Mine
wanted to be
wanted
a
me to be a
reporter.
doctor, so yeah.
I wanted to be a reporter
Me
because
too.
I was an Anglophile. I was absolutely 1,000% fascinated with anything that was England or the UK. Totally fascinated. I knew that I was fourth generation Irish by the time I was 6 years old. I knew that. And I was proud of it, man. My last name has always been the same. Even if I'd gotten married, I wouldn't have changed it. Um, but anyway, I wanted to interview the Queen. That was my life goal.
So did
I
I.
wanted
I
to
wrote
interview
her
the
a fan
Queen.
letter when I was 11.
There you go. I probably did too. I don't remember. I know that my cousin lived in London when I was little, and I wanted to go and visit her. And my grandmother was going to take me. My mom said, "No, that's just too far. I can't do it. I can't let my kid go." So I didn't. I've never. I've only been to the airport. I mean, I've been in the airport twice, Heathrow, but I've never actually been outside the airport. But yeah, that as far as is my life the way I thought it would be, no. My mother died when I was 12. My dad died when I was 9. And basically, when I was young, I didn't have a chance. Nothing was the way it was supposed to be. So my life would be so different right now if things had been different. But would I be writing poetry? I think I probably still would have been. I think so.
What's the, people in business circles tend to talk about 5-year plans. Okay. Um, Poets don't work in terms of time that short, I find. What's the 15-year plan? What's the 20-year plan? Will you still be doing this, do you think? You got these 2 books that are on the hob, you said. Um, will you be touring with them? Will you be sitting, in a rose-covered cottage somewhere with your 2 cats writing all the time? Or
It's kind
what's
of
the game
funny.
plan?
I just wrote a poem today called Relegated, and I'm going to read it later. But it basically, or I think it's Relegated, but it basically says that I don't have a whole life to live anymore. I'm going to be 65 this year. I have, a window of time. And at this point in my life, I feel rushed.
That's a little discouraging. I'm 2 years older than that. So I try not to think in those terms, but please continue what you were saying.
It's kind of an outlook. I mean, and maybe it's not the greatest outlook, but I figure I have a window of time and I'm feeling rushed. So I'm trying to move
Mm.
out of where I live because it's a bad situation. I'm trying to get a new vehicle because I lost my car. The engine blew up. I no longer have transportation anywhere. I'm trying to get with the Council of Aging and things like that. So I'm, yeah, I mean, I got about 6 months and my life is going to start again over. It's going to start completely new and I'm ready for it. So that is,
Yeah.
yeah, I do have a plan. Might not be a 15-year plan, but I'm hoping it is. I'm hoping
Yeah,
it is.
one can but hope. Um,
Yes,
Talk to
true.
me about where you see the art form going in 15 years.
Me personally, or the art form as itself?
The art form in general,
Yeah,
what do you think?
in general. Well, I think that it's kind of sad that poetry books don't sell and get represented as well as other books.
Or that?
But that doesn't mean that poetry's going to die because poetry is never going to die.
No, it's not
In the
going
same
anywhere.
way, hearing the word Shakespeare when you're talking about poetry is never going to die. It's hearing the words. God, there's so many great poems, but it's never going to die. I mean, there's so many great poets out there already, and then we're just adding more and more. I mean, I met an 11-year-old poet the other day, and I said, "You go, girl, keep going. Don't stop writing. Because you're just going to get better and better and better at it, and you're getting it out of your system, and that's really good." So I think it's going to keep going for a very, very long time. I don't think poetry's going anywhere.
I would agree with that. We've got a handful of minutes left, so let me ask you the prosaic stuff. Chocolate or vanilla?
Vanilla bean.
May have to rethink this relationship. Um, Mustard or ketchup?
Mustard.
Okay. You get a point back. Uh, you said you have two cats, so I'm not even going to ask cats or dogs. But here's one that came up a little while ago just because of the way my travel habits changed. Train or plane?
Plain. Can't take a train to Turkey.
There is that, but let's say inside the domestic United States, train or plane.
Probably plain still.
Okay. Um, I'm kind of yanking this from a pizza commercial, but what do you want on your tombstone?
God, that's hard to say. I never think about that much. Tombstones and everything. I have a tattoo that says to be or not says to be. So probably something poetic.
Okay. Okay.
I should think harder
That'll
about
work.
that.
Not that I'm suggesting it's coming up anytime soon. I'm just
Right.
curious. Um, okay. Well, my dear, I'm going to spotlight you because the next 30 minutes are yours. Do your thing.
Okay. All righty then. So you already know what my first ever poem was.
Well, yeah.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read some poems out of my book called the Lost Little series. It has not been published yet because I don't want to self-publish it. I want to publish it on my own. I mean, I want to publish it through a publisher. So I'm trying to find one. This poem is called Scream on Paper. I was never taught to be a child. I was only ever taught to stay quiet, taught to withhold truths without outright telling lies before I knew it would cost me. I always believed love was earned by merely showing up, doing as told. But over and over, I was told I was too much and not enough all at the same time. And now I'm just invisible. So I wrote louder, loved harder, shouted into blank pages, waiting for something to answer. Nothing ever did. And now I'm angry. I will not rhyme pretty for your comfort. I will not apologize for the sharp edges of survival. I scream on paper because I was punished for screaming in real life, because the world turned down the volume and said, now, dear, be brave, be quiet. Well, fuck quiet. These poems are bloodletting. These lines are broken because I was. These poems don't soothe, they split open the quiet. They're not here to inspire, they're here to survive. I am not a metaphor for your healing journey. I am a warning sign, torn down, repainted, and rage. I will not rhyme pretty for your comfort. I will not apologize for the sharp edges of survival. This is not poetry. This is evidence. This is what it sounds like when a girl stops pretending and finally opens her throat. The next one is from my book. At this point, I'm going to give a content warning because it is about sexual assault. This is called Something Happened. I know something happened to him. Somewhere out there, someone fitted him for his first wife beater shirt and bought him cigarettes, feeding him lies about how he was Superman. Someone big and strong came along and built his ego up so very high and so tall that it was too big for anyone to handle. Someone who told him he was the man and no one dare refuse him. They amputated his sense of decency, his empathy for all others. But I don't care. I can't care about his problems, only what he did to me. Made me grow up thinking all men are animals, scared to be myself, not being really sure who that was anyway. A little girl who thought it was okay to be a whore. So, yeah, he was ruined by someone, but I simply just do not care. This was called At the Hospital. I met her in a hallway where no one meets anyone. Fluorescent, fluorescent lights, paper gowns, the smell of antiseptic, and not enough air. I didn't touch her, didn't shake her hand. There's no greeting for something like this. I caught her name like a piece of glass, held it gently until she could take it back. She looked at me like she might fall through the floor, but she didn't cry. Neither did I. We both knew how to keep a face on. I offered her water, a blanket, a question. Do you want me to stay? She nodded, or maybe she didn't. I stayed anyway. The nurse came into the room. I silently prayed she would choose each one of her words carefully. The nurse announced, each step must be okayed. Nothing happens without approval. The nurse said, this will be cold. The nurse said, we just need a few samples. The nurse said, we'll move at your pace. I wanted to scream for her. Instead, I folded the blanket again and said nothing. There are no words for what happens on that paper covered table. So few words, just yes, okay, and nods from swollen, silent eyes. I watched her watch the ceiling as if something up there could make sense of it all. And I stayed. The police came, and when she finally spoke, it wasn't a story, it was a crack in the world. When it was done, she didn't say goodbye. She didn't need to. Some moments don't end, they just follow you home. And this one is called Hotline. It's 4:12 a.m. when the phone buzzes against my pillow, like a warning, like a pulse too fast to ignore. I'm instantly awake. She doesn't say her name, just, is this, is someone there? And I say yes, like a vow, like a promise I might not know yet how to keep. There's a silence I've learned to wait through, not empty, but full of everything she doesn't want to remember and may never forget. I count her breaths, match mine to hers, kind of a duet between panic and patience. I listen. I was raped. She says it like a confession, like a curse, like she is the one who did something wrong. I want so badly to climb into the crack in her voice and pull her out of it. But all I have is my voice, my breath, my breathing on this line between us, humming with pain and still holding. I repeat certain things so I know she knows I'm listening. So she hears I believe you because I remember how much that mattered. When the call ends, I don't cry. I drink water, stare at the wall, let her story settle next to the others, stacked like unsent letters I'll never burn and never forget. And this one's called Smile Girl. I know we've all heard that. They said wear heels, but not the kind that make noise when you walk. They said wear makeup, but not too much. You'll look desperate. They said stay slim, but not too slim. They'll think you're anorexic. They said smile, girl. Smile through the cat calls. Smile when he interrupts you mid sentence. Smile when he touches your back in the break room. Smile when you have more seniority but get paid less. They said be soft spoken, be polite, be agreeable. Don't talk back. Don't speak too loud. Don't speak too often. Don't have an opinion. They said you're lucky to be pretty. They said beauty opens doors. They didn't mention the locks on the inside. They want us to perform femininity like a fucking Broadway show. Yet I'm still paid less for the ticket. My eyeliner's flawless, but my opinions are too emotional. My laugh is gentle, but my no gets ignored. My nails are sharp and pretty and sharp, but so is my mind that no one notices. I walk through the parking garage afraid with keys between my knuckles. I smile when I want to scream. I say thank you when I'm afraid. I've smiled through insults, laughed through fear, swallowed down rage just to stay calm and safe. Well, not anymore. I carry decades of silence in my mouth. Now it spills out in screams. You wanted obedience, but I came for a riot. I won't be your mannequin, your other woman, your mood boost, your soft distraction. I'm not your angel, your arm candy, your therapy in heels. I'm not your calm down, your ego stroke, your good little girl. I was a good little girl for years and I'm done with that. I'm not here to soothe you, not here to amuse you. I'm here to undo you. I will not smile for your comfort. I will not shrink to fit your frame. This body is mine. This voice is mine. And I'm not asking anymore. And this is called Terms Not Accepted. I was not born to be small, not carved from hush, not designed to disappear. I will not acquiesce or negotiate who I am with you. I will not barter my skin, trade soft spokenness for your comfort. I will not reshape my words to fit your blueprint. I will not shrink, smooth, hush, or squeeze into the closet of your design. I will not silence myself, not for you, not for the world, not for the ghost in the mirror who once begged to be small. I will not unbecome to make you whole, apologize for taking up air, for burning too bright, for loving too loud. I will not dim my shine, soften my blaze, or make my survival a polite antidote. I am unapologetic, unbargained, beautifully broken, and untouched by your demands. Now, this poem, we're kind of finishing with the poems about sexual assault. This poem is my favorite poem I've ever written out of all of them. It's called Invisible. You say I'll be bored, yet you can't give me enough, that your life is too full, too messy, too much for me to want. But you don't see me. You don't see how I ached just to stand in your kitchen, just sit on your balcony while your kids run through the house, while the kettle whistles, while the day is nothing but ordinary. You don't see that I would fly halfway around the world just to hug you, just to fold your laundry, to hear your son say, Harty, Harty, to fall asleep to the sound of your living room TV playing Turkish news in the next room. You think I want something from you, but all I want is you, uncurated, unfiltered, real. But you don't see me, not the way I see you, beautiful in your chaos, worthy in your fatigue, enough, always enough. And it hurts me because I'm here 6,000 miles away, heart open, hands empty, waiting to be let in. And you won't even open the door. And this poem is called Road Trip. I just wrote this about a month ago. We drove for hours without speaking. The GPS kept saying, recalculating, like it knew something about us. Dashboard lights, gas stations at 2 a.m., passing through unknown towns, her singing softly to songs half lost in static, her fingers tapping time against the passenger door. Later, she slept with her head against the window, her breathing soft beneath the hum of the tires, the highway stretching out like something unfinished. Every mile put distance between me and the version of myself I didn't want to be anymore. She always said I could be anything. But at 4 a.m. on this long, dark road, all I really wanted to be was with her. And I do write a lot of poems about Istanbul, Turkey, because I've been there twice, spent time with the woman that I love. And this is called Banquet of Memory. Istanbul still sits in my mouth. The tang of strong tea, sesame bread, warm in my palms, street cats wove between my ankles, purring like secret promises. The air held 1,000 spices, and the call to prayer rose like steam from every rooftop. I left, but the city didn't leave me. It gnaws at me in quiet hours, each memory a bite taken from the present. I am always half hungry for her, always swallowing her ghosts. Still, she eats at me. The salt of the Bosporus runs in my veins. The ferry rocks in my chest, filling my lungs with engine smoke and a language I can't forget. I try to feed the hunger with other cities, other faces, but they still taste thin, paper compared to her fire. Every night she takes another bite and I let her. Huh. This one's called Balcony Istanbul. I thought the other one was called that. Anyway, I'm getting confused now. In the beginning, the balcony was a ribbon of gold, the city spilling open beneath me, the call to prayer curling through the air like a soft hand on my shoulder. Nilofer beside me, her laughter fizzing louder than our beers. In the night warm with promise. Days alone were different. While she worked, I leaned over the railing, watching ferries cut the Bosporus into silver ribbons. Street vendors shouted below. A spice wind drifted upward. And even in my loneliness, I felt folded into the city as if it knew me, kept me. Now the balcony lives in memory. I can still hear the slow rise of voices from the mosque, still taste the salt and hops, and still feel the ache of being both full and hollow in the same breath. It was my anchor, my window, my quiet confession to a city that will always keep a piece of me, but never really know my name. And the next Istanbul poem is called Two Soundscapes. In Istanbul, the call to prayer rose like warm wind, threading through stone streets, drifting across the Bosporus. Even gulls seemed to pause, letting devotion pull through the air unbroken. Back home, sirens split the night, engines snarl, news spits from open windows, each voice thrown, each one trying to be the last word. I hear its sharp edges now, an ache for a horizon that begins with a prayer. And this poem I wrote today, Relegated. I used to write love poems in the margins of books, my words hidden between mathematical equations, relegated to the edges of the page. as though they didn't deserve center, didn't deserve their own page. I wrote in a whisper when I wanted to roar. It took years to find my voice, but when I did, writing in the margins wasn't enough anymore. I wanted to write past the margins. I realized the margins were never meant to hold a life. I wasn't the margin. I was the story. How much time do I have? Because that's like the last poem I have ready, but I have other poems.
You've got about 10 more minutes, 10, 12 more
Okay,
minutes.
then. No problem because I've got poems that I just recently wrote. Let's see
Cool.
here. Here's one called Call to Prayer, since we're on Istanbul poems pretty much. When the call to prayer played across Istanbul, I always stopped, closed my eyes. Sitting there on the balcony, the wind moving through my hair, I drew one slow breath after another, as though I could carry the whole city inside my lungs, as if somehow the words glided on the wind, rolling over rooftops across the Bosphorus, finding me where I sat. I never understood every word. I didn't have to. For the first time, I understood what it felt like to be truly still and truly alive. My body folded into a city where I was only a visitor. Maybe it's one of those things language will never quite hold, but I will always remember the city that renewed my spirit, filled my lungs, and quietly reminded me that sometimes the soul understands long before the mind does. This one's called Awe. I wrote it about Nilüfer. As I watched her breathe, her chest rise and fall, I'm often amazed by her soft eyelashes and how pink her lips are. And now while she's sleeping, I'm free to look upon her totally astonished at just how beautiful she is. If she could see me now, just how much I love her, how much in awe I am of her, the adulation I carry in my bones, all for her, she would laugh at me, call me silly, remind me that she's just a girl, nothing special, a servant of Allah. But right now, with her lying there, I know better. And this was called Sway. I go outside to vape. I know I shouldn't smoke, but I do it anyway. I watch the trees as they sway together and I think about her again. Then I think about how much of the world turns in twos. One tree bends, the other follows, neither one facing the storm alone. Roots hidden beneath the ground, holding each other. I watch the trees and I wonder how I became a single leaf. And this one is called Sinzilik. And I explained earlier that Sinzilik means living without you in Turkish. Every morning I wake to your face, not you, just the photograph I still haven't changed. Morning arrives here long after you've started your day. I drink my morning chai alone. There's no one watching how many sugars I use. I still reach for a second glass, then I remember there is no balcony here, no call to prayer. Love stayed, you didn't. So now I carry a full heart and empty hands. Somehow both weigh the same. And this one is the poem that gave me the idea for my new book. It's called The Thing About Mud. I know what loneliness is. It's deep mud under your feet, sucking you down until you can't breathe. You're sinking. The deeper you sink, the louder memory becomes. Friends who drifted away, lovers who left. You've nowhere to go and no way to get there. Sometimes you call for help in empty rooms, but no one hears you. They're all gone. And sometimes, even in crowded rooms, you still feel alone. So you ask yourself, what's wrong with me? But no answer comes because there's no one there. You talk to God, pray for answers, for comfort, for someone to answer you back. Then you make new friends, knowing time is fleeting and loneliness isn't. You're deep in the mud now, hoping maybe somehow a lotus will bloom. And this is called Lessons. It's also going to go in the new book when I finish it. Sometimes I wonder how I got here. When I was younger, I lived fast, loved hard, and threw caution to the wind. I did what I wanted to combat years of having to be silent. I reclaimed my bodily autonomy and played by my own set of rules. Now people tell me, breathe, enjoy this season. But how do I breathe in when regret sticks in my throat? When time is moving so much faster than I do? The hands of time turn quickly and autumn doesn't wait for permission. But they don't know I'm already counting the leaves. So I take the breath anyway and walk while they rustle beneath my feet, just one step at a time. Let's see here what we got. Okay, well, she wasn't Nilufer when I met her. She was Lotus. We met in a zombie game, not exactly where you'd expect to find the love of your life. Every time I saw her in chat, I'd write, "Hey, beautiful, how's your day going?" Every morning she was there. Every morning I typed, "Hey, beautiful, how's your day going?" 6 months of messages, sharing faces on WhatsApp, then 22 hours on the plane to meet someone I'd only ever touched with words. The airport was big and crowded and loud with Turkish voices. My wheelchair attendant called her. She answered. Part of me was afraid she wouldn't show up. She was at the Burger King in the airport. We rolled that way. When I saw her, I stood up out of my wheelchair and hugged her. I could smell her hair. That was the moment she stopped being words on a screen. Okay, just rolling. Sorry for the delay.
No problem.
This
While
one,
you're looking for
this
your
one's
next
called,
piece, can you
yeah.
let us know when the two books might be coming to market?
The Sound of Leaving it's already in book form that I made. Let's see me on the back.
It's kind
But
of
as far
flashing
as
in and out of
going,
the screen, but
oh, sorry, as far as going to Amazon, probably 2 months.
okay.
So
Okay.
yeah. Um, I don't know how I ran out of poems. It's pretty weird, but I have one I want to read really bad. So let me just bring it up.
Okay.
Let's see here. Just one more second. All right. Yeah, I wanted to read this. Without saying, I saw you. Time stopped in the small airport. You smiled, grabbed me for a hug that lasted all these months past. We'd waited for this one meeting. You smiled, and the airport sounds all died away into the suitcase of my mind, reserved just for that type of din. I cried a river as you welcomed me in that beautiful accent I'd come to know in video chats that lasted only 40 minutes, then lasted all week afterwards. Finally could smell your hair, and the world in my senses exploded into volumes of words I had to hold tightly inside due to lack of pen and paper. We rode the ferry across the Bosporus while seagulls swooped in for cements to nibble on. The air was salty, and so were my tears that I couldn't seem to control. It was a long ride across the sea to the apartment where you lived, day to day, 6,000 miles away from where I wrote, the place all my poems begin and ended with you. We laughed as you coerced me to drink coffee, but each time I did, my reward was a kiss. Coffee for kisses, not such a bad deal even if coffee tastes like overcrowded ashtrays. When we exchanged gifts, your children's smiles spanned a panhandle. Whew, that was a hard one to write. Radio controlled race cars and flying boomerangs invaded the living room. Dresses were modeled as more family. My new family arrived in droves. I could hardly understand a word, but everything was quite clear. Love was everywhere and beyond. I have never loved this much before and since that 30 days when you were mine. How much time we got left, girl?
You've got time for one more.
Okay, 1 second. Yeah, I might not have time for one more if I can't find this poem.
Take your best shot.
Okay, give me one more second. Just just a second. Not finding it. Here we go. All right. This one, which is about to come up any second now, is called Uninvited. This is a good one to end on. Come on, come up. I'm sorry. It's just not coming up. Dang.
No problem.
Clicked on it and it didn't come up. Uninvited. Let's try that again. Well, it was a good poem. It was a good thought, but it's just not happening. So I'll read another one.
That's okay. We have had a wealth of brilliant wordplay from you in
Okay.
the last 30 minutes. So I'm
All right.
happy. I know whoever will see this later on will be absolutely thrilled. Sam, thank you so much. Um, I know when we were talking about this, you had said you were a little bit nervous, and I don't know why. You were absolutely brilliant.
Thank you very much.
For those of you who will be seeing this later on, if you want to know more about Sam or more about Tesoro in general, you can go to www.firesingers.com. That will let you know who we are, what we're up to, and where we're going. In the meantime, I've stopped dealing with time zones. Wherever it is you are on your path for right now, take it light, and we'll see you somewhere around the way. Y'all have a good evening
Definitely.
or
You too.
morning
Take
or
care.
whatever it is.
Okay.